Carolyn, for introducing us like that. This is a beautiful story. And, for those of you that are listening, one of the things that is true of Carolyn is that because of her background, which she'll explain to us, she is a product of dissociation, which always presents the possibility that some memories are implanted, which is why she states the reasons for her believing that these memories have a basis in reality. And so that's really where I want to go next, is kind of right into your family and talking about what kind of family you were born into, which is unique, and the dynamics of it. And just to kind of like introduce it, why don't you give us a little bit of information about your father's genealogy, and then I know you could probably talk about that for hours, but maybe just 5 or 10 minutes, some general things, some general elements of your mom's genealogy, some of the things that they were involved in, so people have an idea of what you were born into.
Okay, I don't know that much. I don't know much about my father's genealogy. I haven't looked into that. I do know that he did have certain experiences that would, his experiences tell me that there was more going on in his family line than it's just obvious that things were in his family line. May have skipped a generation, but he had his supernatural experiences. He also was used by the government, and he's one of the statistics from the human experimentation that was going on during World War II. People want to call it Nazi Germany was doing this. It was probably a global thing. I know that my dad and some other people were in the United States, in the Navy, and were subjected to experimentation and I believe mind control also. But
wow,
and then we'll get into that another time. But his background suggests that there were things already going on in the family. I have family members that are still living. That's another reason why I don't want to get too much into that. My mother's side, though, is more clear to me. I was told that many generations, founders of the United States, I just have a lot of members that are founders of the United States, and there's streets and cities named after them, a couple of presidents, advisors. But a lot of people in the organization aren't well known. They may not have surnames that people recognize. A lot of people are kind of like background people. My family line I knew of as a lot of them were serving in the same division that I was serving in, and not just in the physical realm, but in the supernatural. And not everybody that serves in the organization is even aware that this section exists. So I was brought up to believe, and of course I had no reason not to. I was seeing things from the supernatural from the time I guess I can remember since infancy. I kind of lost my train of thought here.
It's okay. Just up. Earliest memories as an infant. I remember I probably was I might have been a week old, maybe. Yeah.
I know as a newborn.
Wow.
I remember being in my cradle in the bedroom, and my mother came to get me, take me outside and into the rest of the house. She was having a party there. So all the people, it's like a photographic memory of who was there, what they were wearing. They were carrying glasses in their hands. I know now that they're martini glasses. It was more like a semi-formal affair in the house. I don't know what the occasion was, but I assume it must have been around Christmas time. Maybe it was a Christmas party because I was a newborn, and I was born in December. So that's the only thing I can figure about that. But my first memory was that people came over to see my mother to look at me. She was bringing me out to show some of the guests. and I could actually read their thoughts. And
wow.
I'm thinking that this is not so unnatural for a newborn baby. I really do think that babies are much more sensitive to their surroundings than adults want to even believe. But I was sensitive to my surroundings. I had the 5 physical senses plus the 6th sense, where I was sensitive to people's thoughts. And I knew that there was a man that came toward me. I knew the difference of male and female, even at that point. I knew that he was saying, "What a pretty baby," but he was thinking, "What an ugly baby."
Oh my!
I didn't like it, and I didn't like it because the fact that he thought I was ugly. I didn't like it because he was lying, and with that, I sensed that my mom was going to hand me over to him to hold, and I thought, "Oh, don't you dare! Don't you hand me over to that guy? He's a liar." and then when I felt my mom's arms reaching out to let this guy hold me, and I was thinking, "No, Mom, can't you sense that I don't want to go to this guy? Don't you know that he's lying?" So I started bellowing. I started crying, and I thought, "Oh yes, she's taking me back." And then she took me back to the nursery, to my bedroom. But just before she took me back, I could see the surprise and the embarrassment in the man's face. That it was like he was embarrassed because I cried and didn't want to go to him. But that's my first memory.
Wow. And the crazy thing is that you have this memory from when you are, explaining as a week old. I know, like, in my case, obviously I do not have memories of being a week old, but what I do know is that as I have studied out people that have been subjected to a lot of trauma in early childhood, one of these common threads, and for those of you that are listening, you can look into this. There's a lot of information coming out from various sources, even medically, showing that people that have been through significant trauma do retrieve memories from, well, as early as infancy.